complex nature of being in supervision and transferring to a new administration, a decertification vote on the heavy highway. This was a tough run, and we're still not there yet. But any good negotiations compromise. Some guys, listen, if 1,000 guys end up, if we cut the out-of-town hours in half, that's 1,000 guys doing 1,000 hours. That's 1,000 New York City members making their medical, taking care of their families. So, you get voted in as a delegate to make hard decisions, and those are the hard decisions. You can't be in a leadership position and tell people what they want. You tell them what they need to hear, and you tell them honestly. So that's why I'm being honest on this one. I just want to give everybody a background. So concessions had to be made, progress was gained, and the effort to put more people to work. That's the key here. To be a representative here, elected representative as a delegate as I am, and hopefully as president, we're going to have to make tough decisions and tell you tough things. The whole world doesn't stop outside 395 Hudson Street. It's a very active, mobile, $20 to $30 billion construction market out there. And there's a lot of different sectors on this thing. And there isn't a square peg that fits in all the holes. So that's the honest truth of it. So, do concessions or changes in the contracts had to be? Of course they did. Of course they did. And hopefully we were able to get the compliance program to a point where we implement it, get the raises, get our welfare and health and welfare back. Listen, I talked to my mother. She's married to my father, as a 53-year retired member. I think it's easy to have to explain to your mother that she has to pay into her health care. Well, you guys are living through the same thing. It's not easy. And these are the hard decisions that people get elected to be made. And I think that as an elected official, you got to be honest with people and tell them what they need to hear, not just what they want to hear. Thanks.
Right now we have one contract. One. The hoist agreement. Everybody's talking about the wall and ceiling agreement. There's nothing there yet. We have a pilot program that's going on right now. Hopefully it goes through. Hopefully the judge says yay and the contract goes through. The BCA, from what I understand, doesn't even want to talk to us. GCA, same nonsense, nothing really moving forward. This is what they're dealing with in trying to negotiate. The wall and ceiling contract, 5 years from now, I think Martin said, we're going to be at $100 an hour. I have some concerns about that. I have concerns because where do we go from there? And I don't know if anybody's thinking about where do we go from there. I'm also concerned about, there's a lot of good carpenters that work off that out-of-work list. That's what they want to do. They want to stay and work off the out-of-work list. I'm concerned about how we're going to find those members work. Yeah, we're going to make a hell of a lot of money in the next 5 years. If the boom comes, everybody's going to be happy. But 5 years from now, when we have to negotiate that contract again, I'm concerned about where we're going to go. It's not about now, it's about the future of this union. We can't just think about little bits and pieces and what's going to be now. Full mobility was something that everybody struggled with, okay? And the decision was made, it was passed. But still, there's concern there. There's concern in every one of our contracts. I know they're working hard to get us good contracts and push them through, but we need to worry about our membership. We need to look at what's important for our membership. The more meetings that we go to, the more I speak to the members, the more I'm hearing what they're asking for. We need to open our ears a little bit and be a little more concerned about our membership when it comes to these contracts. I know there's ways we can be creative. I know there's ways we can do it. We have a lot of smart gentlemen negotiating these contracts. So, that's it.
If I can add to that.
Go ahead and respond.
A little bit more on the wall and ceiling contract. I'm not an obstructionist. I don't want to come here to destroy this union. I want to build it up. But I'm here to break the rose-colored glasses. We have problems, and a lot of our problems occur because we don't follow our own rules. And it bothered me greatly when we made a motion in Local 157 to bind our delegates to vote the way we told them to vote. And the majority of them didn't vote the way we told them to vote.
Tell us how to vote.
We can too.
You can't.
We can bind you
I'm gonna hold
Thank you,
on.
Ed.
You don't understand the rules. You
Sure.
can't tell
Ed.
anybody how to vote.
I can too.
Stop
Can we
saying
all
it.
speak from this floor? No, there's not,
Okay.
anybody who speaks from the floor is going to be
That we
recorded.
bound our delegates to vote against full mobility. It bothered me also that all the other locals that don't work under this wall and ceiling contract were allowed to vote on it as well. And they all voted in favor of it just to get it done, to get it out of their hair. They were so tired of it, they just passed it. And the contract wasn't even given, this addendum, this 4-page addendum, wasn't even given to them until 5 p.m. the night before as an attachment to an email. Now, I would like to know how many of the delegates actually read that 4-page addendum the day before they took that vote, and I'd like to know how many of them understood it and what it entailed. Full mobility is going to destroy us. It, in my opinion, is anti-union. It gives up control of our union from our members to the contractors almost entirely.
Any response from the dais?
Dan, I think the rose-colored glasses were taken off of everybody a long time ago. Everybody knows there's difficulty out there. Democracy is not getting your way because you have an opinion about what other people think and why other people did things. You know, if you're going to be, running for president of this council, you have to respect that people, for good reason and good cause, can disagree with you. All right? The fact that you get out and you come out here and you at an RO forum pretty much implied that delegates who voted for something, I explained why I voted for full mobility. I voted for full mobility because I want to see New York City carpenters go to work on New York City jobs. You inferred that people did that because they were going to get paid off with no proof. To me, that's just slandering people for no reason.
I did not imply that.
Excuse me?
I did not imply that.
I would differ with your opinion, and I was sitting here, and the RO could probably tell you the same thing when the RO explained back to you that it isn't illegal for people to vote how they feel on a contract that you infer they didn't read. Well, maybe we read it a few times. Maybe we discussed this contract longer than any contract in the history of this organization. And I'm tired of you implying that everybody else is no good and you're going to come in here and straighten everybody out. There's a lot of good people who are trying really hard in really difficult situations. And I've held my tongue,
Who's going to be
but
the
he threw it out there.
Who's going to be the good guy?
Martin or Jeremy, do you have
Who is
an
going to
opinion on what you've heard? Please.
Maritas, McGinnis, Devine.
Please. Martin.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I was at those meetings that Dan was talking about, and I always, have my opinion, independent advice, and Dan is right in what he's saying, but, if 1% don't want it and 99% want it, I think Dan, is going to go to 99%. I was in favor of that contract, like I said before. I'm very proud that I voted for it, and I know that Jeremy has some issues down the road. Well, I think that the carpenters will take care of those issues down the road. We got a good team here together. We're going to work together. We're all together, and we can do it all together. Thank you.
Jeremy, any comment on that? Next question. And we'll start with Jeremy. At the Javits Center debate, I asked the candidates for their view on transparency. And they all basically took a pledge. I'd like to know from each of you, what is your definition of transparency in union governance and administration? And is the current administration transparent under your definition?
I think transparency is letting the membership be involved in what's going on with the council, and I think it's been done. I think we're more transparent now than we've ever been. I think you ask a question, you'll get an answer now. Not like before, you ask a question and people just look at you and walk away, or just look at you and say, "Oh, don't worry about it. We got it handled." I know in the field, you'd ask for something in a contract, or can I have a copy of the contract? And you'd be told, well, what do you need to know? You don't need a copy of the contract. Those days are over. I think the transparency is here. I think when members ask for a copy of their contract, they get it. Members ask a question. I think if you don't have an answer, I know people are giving them the answer or getting them a correct answer. So I think the transparency is here. I think, listen, like everything else, I mean, you learn as you go, but I think if you look at this council now, I think when you want to talk about transparency, I think it's there. Thank you.
this council has 24 delegate meetings a year, like 24. Other councils have between 4 and 12. It's open to the membership. Things are posted online. You know, yelling transparency and saying that we don't have it. Well, what don't we have? You know, to those who say we don't. You know, questions get answered. Financials are out there. You know, I'm scratching my head going, where is this lack of transparency? You know, it's become this big issue. You know, I'm thinking, you know, how are we putting guys to work tomorrow? And we spend hours talking about transparency. I'm going, well, defined by who? Defined by a few? Defined by the regular rank and file members? You know, it's an open process, and it's a process that we're working on. If guys have suggestions, in particular, of what they would be transparency, but, you know, there's a difference between transparency and crippling this organization trying to report what we're thinking every 5 minutes. You know, this organization has to operate. And the idea that we're supposed to, you know, oh, we had a meeting today, I'm going to put that on Twitter, is nuts. It's ludicrous. You know, and decisions have to be made. You know, your elected officials at the state or the city or the federal level, you know, they put their website out, they make people available to talk to you. They're open in government. You know, I don't know what this open transparency that when show me another labor organization that's more transparent and give me a comparable that maybe we should try and get to. That's a reasonable request, but getting up and saying that we're not transparent, it makes no sense to me. So you know, I believe if members have suggestions about things of transparency, they'll be weighed and see if it's legal and see if we can do that and see if it hinders the progress of the organization. And if you don't think a guy's very transparent, don't vote for him the next time. But, you know, I think it has to be led by suggestions. I think, you know, this thing is, you know, the organization is wide open, and you know, members can participate. But I think we're getting stuck in the morass here. You know, we've been to all the local meetings. I'm lucky if I saw 200 guys between all those meetings. I think we got to bring the members back. You know, and I think, you know, having more meetings and more reports and more things on the website and a never-ending goal to get to where, you know, if there's some goal that we have to get to, let's get to it. Let's work on it. Let's do it. But, you know, keep pounding us in. We got to be more transparent. I think is kind of diverted us from some of the more important issues. And the most important issue is helping every member here, you know, provide for their family.
Brothers and sisters, those delegates who are here, and you know that we do have a pretty good transparency here at our meetings. However, it is disturbing to the members when they don't know anything on the job and an apprentice comes and he hears it at the school, and the apprentice brings the information to the job, not the delegate and not the rank and file member. He doesn't even know. I believe that our website has to be updated, get the information to the website. If you look at it, there's very little information being put on there. It certainly can improve. However, the best course of information is to come to the council and get your information there. You get it direct. The locals, brothers and sisters, will have to go to the meetings, and we have to make sure that they're fully informed, and whoever is running that meeting has got the minutes of our delegate meeting, so he can explain to the membership exactly what's going on here. Now, I think overall, it's been a very good job done here. Questions have been asked on the floor. It may not be fit to get them legally on that particular night, but the following night, our next meeting, they are answered. And I think they're doing a good job on that.
In my opinion, transparency is still very poor. It is nowhere near where I'd like it to be. And I have many points of information that should still be made available to the members. The website, it has more information on it in some parts versus the old website, and in some parts there's a lot of things missing. Some information can't even be found. But overall, for example, I got guys on the job site asking me the same questions every week, primarily about the contracts. What's going on with the contract? What's going on with the contract? What's going on with the contract? I hear the same question by everyone every week. And the only thing I can tell them is that there's been delays,